Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Ola, and on this channel we'll talk about personal finance, investing and the economy. So if you are someone that is looking to build your finances, then this is the channel you need to stay tuned to. So subscribe and hit the notification button. Today we're talking about how to ID fraudulent investments. Today we're talking about how to ID fraudulent investments. Why am I talking about this? Because one of the things that I have realized as a trend in my almost 17 years in the financial services sector is that a lot of these deals go bust around Christmas. And so we are just popping into a new year, and I know a couple of people who have gotten hit by some of these investments. And the way they operate is usually the same, just a little bit of packaging to make it look different. Now, why are we discussing it right now? Why is this important? Because I have come to realize in my almost 17 years experience in finance that it's almost always the same story, just different packaging. So as an individual who is trying to build their wealth, which is very valid, who's trying to beat inflation, which is very valid, it's important for you to recognize these investments, these opportunities that are actually fraudulent. Like, they actually set up being fraudulent and they sort of pump you up and then dump you at the end. Now, it's also interesting to highlight the fact that I have realized that a lot of these things go bust around November, December. And the major reason is that towards that time of the year, people that have been investing throughout the year are looking to cash out to spend at Christmas. So that bump in like massive demand for liquidity towards the end of the year usually is the tipping points. And then I guess also for the people involved, is usually also the time when they want to spend the money they have gathered. So if you are someone who has been burnt by it, if you have friends who have been burnt by fraudulent investment, not even an investment that went wrong, then you need to listen in. Now, the first thing I want to highlight is that there's a difference between an investment that went bad and a fraudulent investment. That is the first thing you need to know. And the way to structure each of them is different, right? The way to respond to each of them is different. An investment that goes bad is, for example, you were working on a project, you give someone financing for a project, and for example, regulation came out and put the project off course, or someone took money from you and the person needed, let's say $1 million, they were able to raise 500,000 or 600,000, but couldn't raise the balance, and so they got cash strapped. Right, that is a bad investment. So your money is stuck. There is a product, but your money is stuck there. That's different. A fraudulent investment is actually when a group of people or individual gathers your money together with a fraudulent claim to doing something, right? And in the end, what they just do is shut down and disappear. That is fraud. Now, for the first one, which is like a bad investment, sometimes you might be able to inject new cash and the business will pick up. You might be able to dispose of the current assets, the assets that are available, and at least recoup some of your cash, right? But basically the way it works is that for a bad investment, right, it's not that the person ran away. It's not like there's no assets to liquidate. There are some things that you might be able to liquidate and recoup some cash. But you see, when it's fraudulent, it is that your money has gone. Like, there's nobody to hold. And the response for that is actually like to report to the police, to report to financial crimes unit type thing, right? And so before we even get into it, in this fresh brand new year, it's important to know how to ID them. Now, I'm going to give you 5 things that you need to look out for, and I will tell you some of the things that mistakes that people have made in the past that have been so consistent, so that you can avoid it. Because we want to grow, we want to build our wealth. There is literally no point in gathering that money together and then donating it to somebody to live life, to buy new cars, to travel. Like, it's so painful. The first thing you need to look out for is who are the promoters of these investments. When I say who are the promoters, most times there'll be one person that they name the name. Like, they gave you the name of this person as the person running the business. First of all, if there's no name, and there's no anchor, just one. Just one. That's the first red flag. If you can't exactly say who is the person behind this business. Even the biggest banks that you see, there is somebody, there are a couple of people, there's a history, there's a story, right? So if someone is coming to you to ask you to drop your 1 million naira or your $1,000 and you don't even know who the real person behind the business is, first of all, run. Now, when you know they've given you a name of somebody, right, and they're saying that they're going to be investing in this particular thing, a simple Google search of the person's history, of the person's trend, right? You literally, on a normal day, would you say you have like a major surgery to do, and then someone comes and says, I've only worked for 1 year as a doctor, I'm just in my residency, and then you hand yourself over to do that major surgery? No, you won't, right? You need to be able to say that, okay, what is your track record? What does the team look like? You know, those kind of logical questions, don't drop them when it comes to money, right? And if these questions are not clearly available and verifiable, just run. Like, just run. That's the first thing, right? So who is running, who is backing it is very, very important. Who is running the business, also very important. The second thing that you need to verify is capacity. Now, I might have a name, right? I might have someone who, maybe the person was an investment person in another company, and the person says, oh, I have experience trading stocks, so I'm going to take your money and trade stocks on your behalf, for example. If anything goes wrong, and the person now says, oh, I'm going to give you 40% return guaranteed every month. So if you put 100K, you'll be getting 40K every month. Now, that person that is saying this, if anything goes wrong, do they have capacity to gather money from wherever and pay you back? That capacity is what is called capital. So if you've seen where banks are doing a recapitalization drive, or insurance companies are recapitalizing, or asset managers have been asked to recapitalize in your country, or some asset manager has upgraded to a certain minimum capital base, it is that backing that they are talking about. Yeah? If number one, you're not able to ID drivers of the business, and then you now ID them, but they don't have capacity, the question is, if all of you come at the same time, how will they pay everybody back? Do you understand? That is where the problem starts. Now, the third thing you need to look out for is regulation. The fact is this: every time you hand your money over to an individual that is not regulated by anybody to manage your money, it is fundamentally illegal for that person to take your money and take public funds, right? So if you have a relationship with someone, then you can have a bilateral contract between you and that person saying that I'm going to give you this amount of money and you're going to get this back. And that can be a civil, you can go to court with that, with the contracts and all that. But when you see someone that is gathering public funds, meaning that there is no direct relationship with the person taking the money, right? And the person does not have any form of regulation, it's actually illegal. It actually is illegal. No individual and no corporate entity, meaning no registered business, registered company, is permitted to take public funds without a license. Now, what do I mean by a license? A license is, in every country, there is the Securities and Exchange Commission. Those are the people that actually, that's the body that actually regulates all financial activity, investment activity. If they don't have a license and you don't have a direct relationship with the person, then do a double know they are going into dangerous waters. Why? Because the nature of regulation is that there are minimum standards that they must not fall by, or else their licenses will be withdrawn, or they'll be fined, or there's a way to hold the founders, they can be prosecuted. There's a lot of that. But if there's no licensing, just know that you're taking a significant risk, and ask yourself, this money that I'm delivering to these people, if it disappears, will I still be fine? Now, if you will not be fine, then either don't do it or reduce the amount significantly, because I have come to realize in this my work as a financially educated that people would somewhat always do what they want to do, right? So let me just help you. So I've said 3 things so far. Who is the founder? Who are the backers? Do they have capacity? Do they have capital? Is there a capital base backing what they are doing? And then, are they regulated? If these 3 are not in place, I beg you to run, because the joy of getting your ×2, ×3, ×4 does not cover the pain of losing your 1. It is very painful. Now, the 4th thing to look out for is, does the business model make sense? A lot of times it does not make sense. What do I mean? Let's say, for example, let's use the stock example. Somebody says he's taking your money to invest in stocks and he's guaranteeing you 40% every month, meaning that if you put in $1,000, you're going to be getting $400 every month. How is it even possible, with all the news that you hear of the stock market, that somebody is going to be able to guarantee you profit every month? Profit every single month, day in, day out, no losses. How is that possible? Or you find somewhere, they say they have a product that they are selling, but you give them the money, they don't deliver the product to you, you don't see the product on any shelves anywhere, right? And then they now say that, instead of us to deliver the product to you, we'll help you sell the products. Excuse me, why? Are you running a wholesale business or a retail business? Please explain. If you were running a business and someone comes to you and says, okay, I have this thing sourced from the manufacturer, I'm going to sell it to you, and then I'm going to sell it to the retail person at the same time. We as person, are you not confused? What is happening? Yeah? So look at it critically, guys. Don't let greed run you streets. Don't let greed run you streets if it does not make sense. If the business model is not calmly making sense and sustainable, then you need to run, and you need to run quickly. Now, the third thing you need to consider is how pressured they are to take your money. You see that whole, do it now. It needs to be done immediately. You need to transfer right now. There's a deadline. There's this for an investment. Please run. Just run. Don't even bother yourself. Just run. Why? Because the nature of investing is like you are planting a seed. So you can be planting, for example, sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes take maybe like 9 months to grow, to plant, go through everything and produce on the other side. But apples take 3 to 5 years. So the question is, what kind of investment are you doing that it is so time bound that you must do today, and if you don't do today, you will not get this, blah, 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 blah. That sense of pressure. Once it is there, just jump, just run, like really run. And the next thing on the back of that is when they're taking your money, and they promised you something, but they've not delivered on that one thing. They now say, but if we promised you 10, but if you want 20, just add another 0.5 to it. Do you understand? That kind of gimmick. Guys, please run. If you're already in ease, most likely you're already in ease, that's why they're offering you the extras. But cut your loss and run. I've talked about 5 things that you need to look out for. The first thing I want to advise you to do is that when you are critiquing an investment that sounds juicy, bring somebody into the conversation that is not vested in that opportunity. Because all these questions I'm asking, I put it to you that your emotions are gonna throw you off. Somewhere in your mind, you might rationalize what does not make sense, something that the math ain't mathing in logic, right? So the first thing I would say is to avoid these things. After you have gone through these questions, get somebody who is not vested, who is not emotionally attached to the money, who is your calm soundboard, and tell them, okay, these are the things, these are the questions, these are the answers that I think I have. Does the math jive? Right? That's the first thing. Then the next thing I would say is one thing that I find that people get caught in. A simple thing, they paid this person, therefore they will pay me. Like I said earlier, a lot of these investments tend to go bust towards the end of the year. So if you start off in January like we are in right now, and you go in, you get your returns in like March, April, May, you know that if you bring your friend in like August, September, your friend might lose money. So you see these questions that I've told you to review, get that third party and run with it, and make sure you go through them with your eyes open. Why? As simple as these things are, I put it to you that as much as these questions, these things to look out for seem so simple, a lot of people in not asking these basic questions have lost a lot of money. If you're someone that has lost money before to fraudulent investment, remember I highlighted the difference. Does this make sense? Like in retrospect, if you had asked these questions objectively, would you have realized that it was a fraudulent deal? Please drop in the comment section for somebody else to know, and also highlight the one that really stands out for you, the tip that really stands out for you. Now, in summary, what are the 5 things that you should look out for? Who are the backers? Do they have capacity? Are they regulated? Does the business model make sense? And is there any sense of pressure to release that money from your accounts? I hope that this is a beautiful year for you when it comes to your finances. So one of the things that we need to avoid is unnecessary losses. So I put it to you that you can't outsource your health and your finances. No matter how beautiful it looks, right? You need to engage. You need to actually critique it on your own, regardless of whatever any other person is saying. Our goal for this year is to actually blow, right? So we need to avoid losses as much as possible. So I would encourage you to share this video with a friend who has lost money in the past, and you guys can use it as your checklist anytime you are going into another investment. Remember, there's a difference between a bad investment and a fraudulent investment, and in our next video we'll talk about how to avoid bad investments, because most times there is a red flag. There's always a sign, right? So see you in the next video. Don't forget that you can't assault your health and your finances. You have to engage. No one can go to the gym on your behalf. Nobody can eat vegetables on your behalf. It's the same way with your finances. You always have to engage. And if you haven't already, please click on the description box to download our free beginner investor checklist. See you in the next video. Bye.